I'm back. Let me get this set up real quick. We're waiting on the big announcement. First, we got to say, we got to pray for the military families and the soldiers out there in Fort Stewart. Got to pray for them, man. We got to find out. Maybe they know already, but that's what I'm about to do right now. Since I've been on the move, I'm going to find out. Have they identified this guy? Somebody said something about him when I was doing the walk down, but you know, sometimes people be being funny in the comment section. So I'm about to get ready to see what it's about right now.
Hello everyone, welcome to ABC 13 Weather Now.
Yeah.
Meteorologist Rachel Bryers. Talk about a hot
So we got,
summer day. Temperatures are making their way up into the low 90s.
I'm trying to get things set up because I just got through running. I have to hurry up and get to the desk, guys. Get this going on. Okay. Now let me do this over here first. Let me do this over here first. Let me do this over here first. Let me get this all set up. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. We're waiting to see what this announcement gonna be. Let me get this set up. We get a little education about this shooter. Let's see.
Angel Tomko, that's spelled Angel. Last name is Tomko, Tomko, and I'm the spokesperson for the 3rd Infantry Division. Today we're here to discuss the incident that took place earlier today on the north side of Fort Stewart installation at the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team footprint. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Brigadier General John Lubis. That's spelled John, Lubis, Lubas. He's the commanding general of the 3rd Infantry Division. Brigadier General Lubis will make a statement regarding the incident and take a few brief questions. Before we begin, however, I'd like to go over just a couple things with you. We have limited time for questions given that this is an ongoing investigation, and we may not have all the information that we can share, but we will try to be as transparent as possible. We will not release the name of any victims until the next of kin notification has been complete. We will not speculate as to any intentions, motives, or backstories, given that this is an ongoing investigation. When you ask your questions, we ask that you please give your name and the affiliation in case we need to do a follow-up. And it's a little hard to hear, so please speak up so that General Lubis can hear you and that you can hear him. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will now turn it over to General Lubis.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. This morning, shortly before 11 o'clock, an active duty soldier assigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, shot and wounded 5 of his fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security. I have lifted all lockdown measures on Fort Stewart, and there is currently no threat to the local community. I'd like to recognize and thank our Army law enforcement and medical personnel and our partners from local, state, and federal law enforcement and emergency services for their quick response and support. I would also like to thank the brave soldiers who immediately intervened and subdued the shooter. These soldiers, without a doubt, prevented further casualties. Our wounded soldiers were initially evacuated to Wynn Army Community Hospital right here on Fort Stewart. All arrived in stable condition, and 3 of the 5 required surgical intervention. 2 have been transported to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, Georgia for additional care. We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Sergeant Radford has not previously deployed to combat. Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement awaiting a charging.
Hello, Vivian. How you doing? What's going on, chat? Appreciate y'all for joining me. This is my second live within 30 minutes. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Let's get it.
Decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel. Right now, our primary focus is first on caring for our injured soldiers and their families, and also supporting the soldiers of the Spartan Brigade. All of the families of the victims have been notified, and we're wrapping our arms around them and ensuring we provide them all the support that we can. Before I take questions, I want to remind you that this is an ongoing investigation, and we're still gathering questions. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll now take your questions.
General Lewis Levine's Coastal News. Can you give us his what unit he was assigned to and how long he served in the Army? If you didn't mention that.
Yeah, he is assigned to one of our sustainment units here in 2nd Brigade Combat Team at Fort Stewart, and I will have to confirm how long he served with us. Yes, sir.
Sergeant Russ Bynum with the Associated Press. As best you can, knowing it's so early, can you walk us through where this happened, what happened in the shooting, and were the victims subordinates of the sergeants, or were they people over him in rank?
Yeah, right now it's premature, and we're gathering a lot of the information. What we know is the shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations, but again, he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll gain more information here shortly.
We've heard that the shooter...
Yes, ma'am.
WSAB, do you know if this was any kind of training exercise, or were they cleaning any weapons, anything that you know so far?
No, ma'am. We don't have any reason to believe it had anything to do with a training event. Other than that, I can't state the motivations for this soldier.
We've heard that the shooter may have been from Jacksonville, Florida. Are you able to confirm that? We also heard that he had maybe been arrested for a DUI recently.
Yeah, at this point, I can't confirm where he's from. We can follow up on that. I do believe he was arrested locally for a DUI that was unknown to his chain of command until the event occurred, and we started looking into the law enforcement databases.
Robin, now from the current, can you tell us whether or not that was a military weapon, or whether this was a personal weapon that the person brought on base?
Yes, ma'am. I can confirm it was not a military weapon, and we believe it was a personal handgun.
Just a short
Yes, sir.
from Savannah Morning News. What does this mean for ongoing security measures that this situation was able to occur with a personal weapon?
Yeah, I'm very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective equipment. This one's a bit difficult, and we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place of duty.
Alicia Wet News for Jax. Has the suspect had any prior disciplinary or behavioral issues on base?
No, ma'am, not that we're aware of. But again, it's early in the investigation, but not that I'm currently aware of.
I know that...
You mentioned that some soldiers helped subdue him.
Oh, so the guy was a soldier.
You know,
He was a soldier. That's unfortunate.
his arrest was he surrendered peacefully, or what his arrest involved?
I don't have the details on that, but I know that his soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
And we've got time for one more question.
I know that you can't speak to the motivation, but, you know, if this turns out to be some situation where somebody had extremist beliefs or maybe classified as a terrorist attack, I mean, how does that change?
X33X, this is Fort Stewart. That's near Savannah, Georgia. It's about 50 miles away from Savannah, Georgia.
The base's response or the base's investigation moving forward?
Yeah, currently we have no reason to believe any of that is the case. However, We continuously assess the threat environment, both in the immediate area and across our Army and DoD installations, and we will address the threat level accordingly.
You have the rank of the shooter?
Yes, sir. He was a sergeant.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your question.
He was a sergeant, guys. That's crazy word. He was a sergeant. Wow.
Mandito, who's 14, and Joaquin, who's 11. I know they're.
If you're just not joining me, we waiting on Trump to announce some big announcement. That's what we waiting on now. We're waiting on the big announcement from Trump inside of the Oval Office. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. All right, here we go, guys.
Thank you. And joining us from the state of Missouri, if y'all can make your way over here, my counterpart, the minority leader in the state of Missouri, State Senator Doug Beck.
Thank you. Thank you. I am Senator Doug Beck, and I am privileged and honored to be the minority leader of a tough Senate Democratic caucus. Super proud of those folks that were here today. And what I want to say is, first, let's thank these Texas legislators for standing up for all of us. If this fight is lost in Texas, they're coming to Missouri next. Our governor has already said that. He's waiting to see what Texas will do. We will be next on the list, looking like it would be in September. That is unfortunate. I come from a state, and in Texas is the same way as Missouri in a lot of ways. I remember Republicans in state not more than a year ago saying, we're not going to let the federal government tell us what to do, right? Isn't that what they said? We're not going to let the federal government tell us what to do. You know what they're doing right now? The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has drawn these maps in Washington, D.C., and they've sent them to Texas. They sent them to Missouri. We know this for a fact. They've drawn the maps, and they're accepting this. And why? Why is this happening? This is the opposite of democracy. Why is this happening? This is very simple. They do not want the Epstein files to be released. They are protecting billionaire and powerful child molesters, rapists, and pedophiles. And maybe the most powerful of all, they're protecting them. They're protecting them. They don't want those released. This is a simple thing. It's not only a grab for power. It's not only a grab for power. Their policies have been horrible. They see their numbers going down. They've been hurting people across the country to give billionaires tax breaks. And now they want to protect them for child molesting. For child molesting. I'm just being honest here, folks. And I can pretty much say that Democrats stand against child molesters. Can I write? All child molesters, whether they're billionaires, whether they're powerful, whether they're a D or whether they're an R, we stand against child molesters. I can tell you that right now. So we're going to fight in Missouri just like they're doing here in Texas. And thank you so much for letting me be here. And when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Leader Beck. And
Hello, Christopher. How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me.
all right.
Good morning. I am State Representative and Missouri Democratic Floor Leader Ashley Ani. I'm from Kansas City, and I am here because I stand firmly with the representatives in Texas and the senators in Texas who had to flee their state.
No, we didn't flee.
You're right. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. Who are doing their jobs.
Y'all heard what she said? She said y'all had to flee. She made a mistake by saying flee your state.
Democrats aren't doing their jobs. They should be fined for not working. The amount of sacrifice that legislators endure to serve their communities, very few people understand. And the amount of pressure, financial pressure, family pressure, community pressure that they are under doing this all over the country to protect their districts, to protect other districts, to protect districts in my state because we are next in Missouri. what Senator Beck is exactly right. I serve with a supermajority of Republicans in Missouri. And for the last several years under President Biden, we heard, we can't listen to the federal government.
Hello, Deborah from London. Appreciate you for joining me.
And we're just going to jump. What I keep reminding my Republican colleagues across the aisle is that Donald Trump is a president. He is not a dictator. He is not a king, but he is an authoritarian. And I'm tired of him calling up Missouri and saying jump, and every Missourian saying, all right, Daddy Trump, how high? Whatever you say. Shame. That's exactly right. The Republicans who I work with, who are in September going to be called back into the legislature to vote on a 7-1 map rather than the 6-2 map we currently have, I want to ask every single one of them, where was your vote in 2022 when we did this last time? 23 House members in Missouri voted for a 7-1 map. Only 23 out of 163 of us. They're all going to pour in. They're going to do exactly what Daddy Trump told them to. They're going to hit that button, and they are going to give us a 7-1 map in Missouri. 58% of Missouri voted for Trump, but they want to send an 87% representation to Congress. It's bullshit, and we won't stand for it in Missouri. I'm grateful for every single person standing behind me today. I'm grateful for the representatives and the senators from Texas who stand strong in support of fair maps, which is truly the bare minimum in this country. But here we are fighting for it. They are a canary in a coal mine, and we are here to spread their message. Thank you, Texas.
Thank you, Representative. Our North Carolina, where's Sophia? Sophia. Okay, we have, boy, they have been through this not too long ago, so please help welcome from North Carolina, Senator Sophia Chitlick. All right.
Thank you so much. Hello, I bring greetings from the North Carolina Senate Democratic Caucus and Leader Sidney Batch. I'm North Carolina State Senator Sophia Chitlick, and I'm here to tell you about the dystopian future that these brave legislators are preventing in Texas by standing up for their constituents and for democracy itself. It is written in the Constitution that any powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states. That includes the creation of legislative districts. Democrats will not comply in advance with the redlining of our Constitution. Governor Abbott might, but these courageous Texans behind me know that our states decide our districts and that our voters decide their legislators. What happens when the fundamental laws of democracy are reversed and legislators pick their voters? Citizens are silenced and erased. Voters stop showing up. Entire communities have taxation without representation. The system fails its citizens. And I know that because that's what's happening in my state in North Carolina, where we went from 8 Democrats and 5 Republicans representing our very purple state in Congress in 2009 to just 4 Democrats and 10 Republicans representing us in Congress today because of partisan gerrymandering. Wow. When Republicans took control of our state legislature, they knew that in our purple state, a majority would be hard and frankly impossible to keep. So they drew new maps that made continued Republican legislative control inevitable. Does that sound familiar to anyone behind me? Can you imagine being so scared of the very voters that you claim to represent that your solution is to destroy representative democracy? It's so shameful. But that's exactly what Republican legislators did in North Carolina, and that is exactly what they're trying to do right now in Texas. In 2024, more North Carolinians voted for Democrats to represent them in our state Senate than voted for Republicans. But because of partisan gerrymandering, that is cheating, Republicans have 30 seats in our state Senate and Democrats have just 20. Because of their cheating, Republicans have a slim congressional majority that has produced some of the most unpopular legislation in American history. Because of their cheating, 16 million Americans are going to lose their health care. Because of their cheating, the U.S. Department of Education is being defunded and destroyed. And because of their cheating, Congress is ceding its power to a cruel bully who is openly calling for his permanent installation as America's autocrat. This is not a North Carolina or a problem or a Texas problem. It is an American problem. And it is a true constitutional crisis and one that we can stop. In resisting partisan gerrymandering, Texas legislators are not just standing up for their constituents, but the future of our republic itself. North Carolina Democrats stand today in support of our very brave colleagues in Texas who are using every tool at their disposal to resist the dystopian future that we know all too well. You are not alone. Keep fighting. We, too, are fighting back against the hostile takeover of democracy in our state. We are voting present on legislation that is as illegitimate as the legislators who produced it. We are winning in unwinnable seats. We are speaking loudly and proudly as a majority female and majority BIPOC caucus in a sea of white Republican men. Come to North Carolina. Come to North Carolina and witness what you can still prevent. We love our state and we love our country, and we will continue fighting for them alongside you. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you, North Carolina. And next, from California, and shall we just say thank you to California, too? Please help me welcome the majority leader in the State Assembly in California, Cecilia Aguirre-Curry. All right. Welcome.
I was out in Boston earlier today as Texas State Democrats taking their message on the road. Again, we've been seeing them pop up in Massachusetts, Illinois as well. All right, we'll take our final break here of the hour. We are getting some.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all for rocking with me right now. We're waiting on Donald Trump to come out and tell us what this big announcement is. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Hope y'all having a great night. What do you, in the chat, what do y'all think the big announcement is going to be? People in the chat, let me know. What do you think the big announcement is going to be? We got 442 people in the building. Y'all let me know. What do you think this big announcement is going to be? But then also we got to send our prayers out there to those families out there at Fort Stewart. If you don't know, 5 soldiers lost their life, and come to find out the guy was a soldier as well. So we got to think about them out there in near Savannah, Georgia. Send condolences to the families out there. He got some new Pampers. So what do y'all think that Donald Trump is going to say? We already know his announcement will be laced with lies. The announcement will be some false flag, Doge stimulus. I only hope he is stepping down. He going on Zempex. Amen, Bob. Something that strokes his ego for sure. I think he's going to announce another deal. If Trump is on the Epstein list, just remember he was a Democrat during his time with big old facts, Eric. A lot of people don't remember that. Trump, that's a good point. If he is on the Epstein list, just remember during those times he was a Democrat. That's a fact. Apple opening factories in America. Hello, Deborah. I see you too. D, sense. The commitment to stupidity is impressive. cents. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for joining me, everybody. We got 416 people in the building. Hope y'all having a great evening as we wait to see what this guy is going to say. More than likely, it's going to be another deal. He will nominate Maxwell as new. Oh, bro. Don't nobody cares, though. Release the files. Hello, Kathleen. How you doing? Trump's got America going in the right way again. Appreciate y'all for joining me, man. If you have not, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let me know what you think Trump is going to tell us. We know he's not going to be presidential and address the whole country. He'll blame Biden for things. Jordan, yeah, he does. Let's see. Boom. All right, let's see what California talking about, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. We're waiting on Donald Trump to come and let us know what's going on. As you know, he's usually late. He's 30 minutes late already. No, he's later than that. Let's see. No, he's 30 minutes late.
Patients. They're signing up multiple patients at the same address. They're enrolling patients who live far outside the service area. And in some cases, hospice providers show extremely high rates of live discharges, or patients who stay on hospice for well over a year, which simply doesn't align with what true hospice care is. This isn't just abuse of our healthcare system, it's a cruel manipulation of both patients and their families seeking dignified end-of-life care. My office's approach to combating hospice fraud is both retrospective and proactive. On the enforcement side, we've launched numerous criminal and civil investigations. We've filed criminal charges against 109 defendants. We're involved in 24 civil investigations. We're working hand in hand with federal agents and other state agencies. And we've conducted dozens of knock-in talks with suspicious hospice storefronts across Glendale and Burbank, literally knocking on doors, talking to people, asking questions, learning more. This fraud isn't just about dollars lost, it's about real harm to real people. In one of our cases, for example, the owner of a hospice company was keeping 6 elderly and severely disabled residents in an unlicensed facility.
No reply. I just fired up a fat blunt, got a fresh cup of coffee, chilling at the dog park with my little dog. Life is great. Shout out to you, no reply. Yeah, you chilling, you relaxing. Shout out to you.
Consent. When he went to see his nurse practitioner, the bill for the visit was denied, and he was told it's because he was already in hospice care. That meant his primary care office couldn't treat him, where he could actually get real health care that he needed. He was left without his regular doctor, stuck with the medical bill, and unable to get the care he needed. Also, someone else could profit off the system. These cases underscore why this work is so important. Fraud like this doesn't just cheat the system, it hurts patients and endangers lives. We're sending a message today. If you're committing fraud, we will find you and we will prosecute you. But enforcement alone isn't enough. That's why today's initiative also includes major proactive measures to educate, to engage, to stop fraud before it starts, including a consumer alert to help Californians spot and report suspicious hospice activity, outreach to local law enforcement, medical providers, and the public, and a public awareness campaign. Here in Los Angeles, including radio PSAs and a billboard you can see when you're driving on I-10, so Angelenos know what to watch for and where to go if they suspect abuse. I also want to take a moment to urge anyone who suspects fraud to report it at oag.ca.gov/DMFEA/reporting. We're here to help. We want to hear from you. Hospice fraud is a betrayal of trust. It undermines the care that families count on when they need it most. To those committing fraud, we are watching, we are investigating, and we will take action. I want to take a moment to recognize my hard-working team at DOJ's Division of Medi-Cal Fraud and Elder Abuse. They're on the front lines of this effort every day, and they've made this initiative.
That's cold, man. When I was doing the walk down, I was just talking about disrespecting, bullying senior citizens, and now this. You got people frauding hospice. That's crazy, bro.
Critical or be a better filter for the
Tips to protect against how to know the purpose.
As far as
check with your doctor. Watch the rib.
The duration is of hospice care. I know some people have they were on hospice and then not on hospice, and then they realized they couldn't, like you stated, couldn't get medical care after that because their insurance was like, you're not qualified for that because you were supposed to be in hospice. Is there some way you guys can proactively change criteria, or have you changed criteria to try to filter those people out? And then the other thing is there a way that you're going to notify families if there is family that's actively engaged in the person's end of life? It seems like this may be a vulnerability for people that are, childless or without family in the area, where they can get preyed on a little easier. But it seems, for most of the people I know that have been in hospice, have family that can be watchdogs.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing along those lines? I know that's multiple questions.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So let me take the second question first. Are we going to notify victims, and what about some of the more vulnerable members of our community who could get preyed on? We certainly notify victims as we learn that they're victims. But part of what we're launching today with this initiative is a set of educational materials, opportunities to contact us, where we expect and hope for affirmative outreach to us, where people will tell us that they are victims themselves, or they're aware of people in their community who are victims, and then we can take action and step in. So we're inviting participation from the public with today's action. It will help us do our job better, have a broader impact, and really crack down on the hospice fraud that we see. So, but certainly as we learn about victims, we make them aware.
Hey, what's up, Richard? Hey, how you doing? Shout out to Scotland. How you doing, Richard? Sharice. Hello, Sharice. How you doing? Hi, Jordan. Appreciate you for joining me. Shout out to Johnson City, Tennessee. Appreciate you for joining me.
Today, our PSAs, our bulletin board, our hotline, our portal, we're inviting participation of the public to share with us their information they have about hospice care fraud. But there can also be tightening of the application process when hospice care providers seek licenses. We can really have some strong quality controls to make sure that it's appropriate and that they're qualified. When patients sign up or are signed up, we want to make sure that they're aware, they're informed, they're educated about what hospice care is, that they're actually receiving it. So we've been in touch with some of our sister departments and agencies to help put into place some of those safeguards, some of those quality controls. Enforcement is a big part of the effort to crack down on hospice care fraud, but also increasing the quality controls can help as well, as you appropriately point out. And so it's a both and. We're doing both.
So if a consumer is a person that's looking for good, reputable hospice care, do you have any advice for how they can avoid stepping into some of these traps?
Yeah, and our press release talks about some of it. Our materials that we have talks about some of that, but some of the things that I can just share here from the podium is, make sure that they're a licensed provider. Make sure you know what hospice care is and when a patient is supposed to receive it, and that if you or someone you love or someone you know actually needs hospice care, then you can seek it from a licensed provider. If someone tries to sign you up by giving you gifts or inducements, that is very suspicious. That is a red flag. If there's a provider that doesn't actually provide care, they're just pocketing the money but not providing the care, that's a red flag as well. But one of the things we're seeing is that folks who are not towards the end of their life are being signed up for hospice care so that the provider can fraudulently get the reimbursement from Medi-Cal or Medicare when the patient doesn't need it. So one of the most important things is just know what hospice care is. It's for terminal illnesses towards the end of one's life, to provide compassion and dignity and comfort. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of folks who are signed up for hospice care for multiple years and are then, they end the care and they're still living. And that's not what hospice care is for. So there are red flags to look for, to avoid, and there are places to look to make sure that the provider is someone who's licensed and in good standing.
And so the license process is effective as a filter, because are any of these offenders licensed people that got in under that, when you shut down the licenses, or some of the people that have offended licensed?
That's one of the things that we're working on, tightening those quality controls at the licensing process, making sure that they're qualified, that they meet all the elements and requirements to be fully licensed. We think there's some strengthening that can be done in that space. We're in touch with some of our sister departments and agencies to help make that happen. Any other questions?
Spanish?
I have
Telemundo as well.
I have some of the PSAs in Spanish that we can provide to you. Okay. So that's already tight, and we can get it sent over to you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, everyone, you are watching live now from Fox California. AG Abanta wrapping up there, and you can see we are still awaiting right now President Trump at the White House along.
We're waiting on Trump. That's what we're waiting on now to tell us what the big news is going to be. We got 225 people in the building. Hit the like button for the algorithm as we'll wait on the announcements. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right back.
manufacturing here in the United States by Apple. That is expected to get going here in just moments. And as soon as it happens, soon as we see the president, we will be bringing that to you here on Live Now from Fox. You see, we have the Treasury Secretary, the Commerce Secretary. They're waiting behind the desk for President Trump, and we have a different shot for you as well. Looks like you have some posters up there talking about Apple American Manufacturing Program. We see that right there on one of the slides. So again, President Trump expected to be making this announcement with Apple CEO Tim Cook in just moments. And we were talking a little bit ago to the Wall Street Journal reporter, just talking about the big impact that this could be for other big companies to see if they can make more investments. Will it be sort of a waterfall effect where more investments could come domestically in the United States? Of course, this was the push by President Trump during his campaign to get more of the companies that are American companies but have manufacturing outside of the United States to come and work more within the United States to create more jobs here locally. And that has been, of course, the big push. We'll see if President Trump takes any questions. We did learn that from Fox News reporting that President Trump will be meeting with President Vladimir Putin of Russia possibly as fast as next week. So we'll be seeing if we could get any details on that as well. But again, you are taking a behind-the-scenes look of the media members now inside of the White House. The podium is set up as well. So very likely we will hear from President Trump there, as well as Apple CEO Tim Cook in moments to talk about that $100 billion upgrade, really, if you will. This goes along with the $500 billion already that was put forth by Apple. Here is President Trump right now and the Apple CEO, Tim Cook. Let's listen in.
You know this gentleman, one of the truly great legends of our time, my book. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. As you know, 5 people were seriously wounded and 2 very, very seriously hurt around 11 o'clock this morning. The shooter is now in custody, and the Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The entire nation is praying for the victims and their families, and hopefully they'll fully recover. And we can put this chapter behind, but we're not going to forget what happened. We're going to take very good care of this person that did this horrible person. This afternoon, we're pleased to welcome to the White House one of the great and most esteemed business leaders and geniuses and innovators anywhere in the world, Apple CEO Tim Cook. It's an amazing job. Thanks as well to Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick for being here, wherever you may be. Oh, there you are. Hello, fellas. I missed you. Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country, all roaring to life. Areas that were not doing so well are doing very well. We have about $17 trillion coming into the United States, which is more than ever before. That's never even come close. There's never been anything like it. Even you, that's even a lot of money for you. But we have commitments of more than $17 trillion. That was as of a couple of weeks ago. These investments will directly create more than 20,000 brand new American jobs and many thousands more at the Apple suppliers like Corning, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, and Samsung, who all deal in that world. As part of this historic commitment, Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, which is a great, actually, I did very well there. I like it because I see I did very well there. I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy. I thought maybe while we're up, I'll interrupt my own speech by you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I step over
Yes,
here?
please.
This box was made in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold. And it sits, I'll take the liberty of setting it up.
Wow.
Well, there we go. Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
The great people of Kentucky. You're going to find it a great place to do business, too. It's fantastic. Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries. This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America. With the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today, Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon. That's big stuff. Apple will also open state-of-the-art manufacturing economy. It's going to be a manufacturing academy in Detroit, and that's a great place to do. Well, you know, big things are happening in Michigan and Detroit. They're coming in because of what we've done with the, I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I added one word, great. But we have probably the biggest, most comprehensive piece of legislation ever passed. It's going to mean unbelievable numbers of jobs and no jobs on, think of this, whether it's tips or overtime or Social Security, no tax. So no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And there's just a small bit of it. For Apple and others businesses, we're talking about the deductions and all of the things. And actually for people that go out and buy a car, first time it's ever been done, we talk about deductions for companies, but they're going to be able to deduct interest when they borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. It has to be made in America. So it is amazing. And one of the reasons I think I can say that Apple's coming here is the legislation we just passed with this kind of investment. Apple will also open other facilities, rare earth magnets from Texas, and build, oh, I love that you're doing this. I love that. I love that. And build a brand new rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. I know that area. That's where they have a lot of truly rare earth. That's fantastic. I love that. And Apple will help develop and manufacture semiconductors and semiconductor equipment in Texas, Utah, Arizona, and New York. For years, Americans have watched as many of our leading tech giants built their factories overseas and exported American jobs abroad. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything possible to make this the best place on earth to build a factory or grow businesses. I'm allowing them to build electric producing plants with their factory, because otherwise they'd have to hook into the grid. And I think it's one of the biggest things we've done, where you can build, Tim, your own electricity. You become your own electric manufacturer, and that goes along with the plant. So you become a utility. So congratulations, now you're in the utility. I hope they don't value your company based on utility, but that's okay. You're going to be making your own electricity, and as you probably know, for much of this and many of the things that we're doing, especially the AI, they would need actually double the electricity that the country now produces for everything. So it's massive electric, and they're going to be able to make their own, and they're getting very fast approvals. Lee Zeldin is doing a fantastic job, including with a 100% expensing on the one big, beautiful bill. In return, we're asking our businesses to invest in America, and they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. So I don't know when it shows up, but there are a lot of factories and a lot of plants that are either under construction or soon will be starting construction. So can't tell you exactly when, but I want to be around in about a year from now and 2 years from now, because we're going to see an explosion, I think, like this country has never seen before. Never. Today's announcement is one of the largest commitments in what has become among the greatest investment booms in our nation's history, and we've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. You know, I told you the story that, and Tim, I'll tell you, but I went to the Middle East, and I was with Qatar, I was with UAE, and the King of Saudi Arabia, all great leaders. And then I went to NATO and saw many great leaders, and we just finished that about 4 weeks ago. Virtually everyone said, in effect, that we were a dead country 1 year ago. America, this was a dead country. We were dying, we were dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. This would have never happened except for certain people. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. NVIDIA is investing $500 billion to go along with Apple, $600 billion. $600 billion. Micron, great company, is investing $200 billion. IBM is investing more than $150 billion.
Hey, what's up, Steve? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me.
More than $100 billion. TSMC is investing $200 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. Merck, Stellantis, and General Motors are putting many, many billions in. They haven't determined the final number. And many other countries are investing tens of billions of dollars, and I'm not going to give you the whole list because the list is too long to read. But it's hundreds of billions and even trillions. I mean, it's trillions of dollars is being invested right now. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at 3% in the second quarter, and consumer confidence is surging. Blue-collar wages are rising rapidly. Costs are way down. You know, I listen to these horrendous frauds on CNN and various other fake news networks, and they say costs are up. No, costs are down. Gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now, many places other than in California where they tax you out of business, but and a couple of others. But gasoline is way down. The price of groceries are down. How about eggs? When I first came here, my first week, the press hit me very hard on eggs. Eggs had quadrupled or something. I said, I didn't know about it. Give me a chance. I've just been here for 4 days. Well, eggs are down. Everything's down. Price is down. The only thing that's up is stock prices. That's really up, and that's through the roof. The stock market has been hitting all-time records, all-time highs. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at levels that we haven't seen in a long time, but the real levels of growth are going to be judged in a year from now when you start seeing some of these incredible plants, because we have car plants opening. They're coming in from Canada, from Mexico, and from all over the world. And they're coming in because they like the way the election worked out, but they also like the fact that they don't want to pay tariffs. And the tariffs, I think, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. I won't be so specific other than to say, because we don't even know what the final number is. We just made a deal, as you know, with the EU, where they're paying hundreds of billions of dollars. Japan paying hundreds of billions of dollars, and numerous other countries paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not even completed there. And as you know, they found $25 billion 3 weeks ago. They said, we have a surplus of $25 billion. And they said, where did this come from? I said, check the tariffs. And they checked. They said, you're right. That's where it came from. And we've really just started. This is just in its infancy. So we have a great country. We have a country that is going to be very rich. It's a country that we're very proud of, but it's going to be very rich. And it's companies like Apple, they're coming home. They're all coming home. And we want them to come home. They have to come home. We're going to treat them really well. We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff. Okay? If for some reason you say you're building and you don't build, then we go back and we add it up, it accumulates, and we charge you at a later date. You have to pay, and that's a guarantee. So that's a big statement, and I think the chip companies are all coming back home. They're all coming back. You know, we started with Intel, and gradually Intel was just taken over the coals. They were taken to the cleaners, frankly, and moved to other places, in particular Taiwan. But I think a lot of those companies are coming back, and they're coming back very rapidly. So that's a big statement. 100% tariff. I want to thank you very much. Tim, would you like to say a few words about your company, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing. I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment. Commitment we share at Apple, because American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states. Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. As a part of this, we're launching Apple's American Manufacturing Program. It will spur even more production right here in America for critical components used in Apple products all around the world. And we're thrilled to announce that we've already signed new agreements with 10 companies across America to do just that. First, with today's announcements, I'm proud to say that Apple is leading the creation of an end-to-end silicon supply chain right here in America, from design to equipment to wafer production to fabrication to packaging. In Texas, we're working with manufacturers like Texas Instruments, Global Wafers America, and Applied Materials. We're working with Amcor in Arizona and Broadcom and Global Foundries in New York. Thanks to President Trump's vision, and with his help in his first term, we also led the way to bring TSMC to Arizona by committing to be their first customer. Today, they're producing tens of millions of chips for Apple using one of the most advanced process technologies in America today. We're going to keep working with our suppliers to move even more of this incredibly advanced work to America. And this year alone, American manufacturers are on track to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky. In addition to the American manufacturing program, we're also significantly growing our investments in AI, including expanding data center capacity in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Iowa, in Arizona, and Oregon. So we're going to keep making investments right here in America. We're going to keep hiring in America. And we're going to keep building technologies at the heart of our products right here in America. Because we're a proud American company, and we believe deeply in the promise of this great nation. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump, for putting American innovation and American jobs front and center. Thank you, sir.
Great honor.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What a job he's done. What a job. Incredible. I want to thank you very much, and thank you, JD, for helping along. Good job. Really good job. Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
yes.
You promised on the campaign trail to bring forward a manufacturing renaissance. You just mentioned $17 trillion in your first 7 months.
Hello, R. How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me.
Or so. Right. Can you talk about how an investment like this, all the other ones that you laid out, will positively impact the millions of Americans that trusted you with their vote?
Thank you very much. It changes our country. I mean, our country is a very different country than it was 6 months ago. And people like Tim are coming. We had Micron in yesterday. We had all of the big, great companies that you read about, you don't know about, but you read about. Many of them were making products outside of our country. Foolishly, we lost them. If we had the right person sitting in that seat, that would have never happened 20 and 30 years ago. When you look at the chip business, it would have never left our shores. We had 100% of chips originally, and then we slowly got taken down to nothing. We have the biggest chip companies, to both of them, but we have the biggest in the world coming in. They're going to Arizona and beyond. And we're going to have, in a short period of time, we'll be up to almost 50% of the chips from starting in nothing. And that's something. But we have the greatest companies in the world coming into our country, and that means jobs. And it means wealth, and wealth means security for our people. Okay? Brian?
Yes, sir. Congratulations on this investment, President Trump.
Thank you.
With a great example of putting America first. What does the labor force look like to fill these jobs that you have? Do we have enough skilled American workers to fill these?
Well, we do have a lot of workers, and we have a lot of workers that hadn't been looking for work because they were disincentivized, frankly. And people like Tim have tremendous schools and training centers that they build along with a lot of their big plants where they train people on whether it's glass, like in Kentucky, or computers, or whatever they might be doing. It's a complex world, and they train people, and they do a great job. So it's a whole new workforce. Now, we have a lot of them in energy because, you know, they've always liked energy. As you know, coal has opened up big. We brought it back. And brought it back in a very large way. You know, China's right now building 58 coal-fired plants, 58 big ones. And here we were saying, we don't take coal. We have more coal than anybody else in the world. We have more oil and gas than anybody else in the world. But we have tremendous energy jobs, and the energy, as you know, we're booming with energy. And that's why the gasoline prices are down. The costs are down. I just hope when they watch these shows, I watch this, I want you on CNN and MSDNC too, the same thing, where they say, well, costs have gone up. Costs haven't gone up, they've gone down. I'm telling you, the thing that's gone up is stock prices and success of our country. Our country is really, really doing well, successful. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
How close do you think you are to a deal?
Excuse me?
How close do you think you are to some kind of deal?
Well, I don't want to say. I've been disappointed before with this one. You know, we've solved 5 wars, plus add to that Iran, where we wiped out their nuclear capacity for weapons. They would have had a weapon within 2 months, maybe less, and that was totally obliterated. It turned out it was a total obliteration, and the pilots and the people that did that job are really, we have the greatest armed forces in the world, but that was really something. In fact, there's a model of the plane right there. So, you got to bring that up, Susie. We have to see that. Look at this. This was just given to me. You know, we ordered brand new B-2 bombers. This is a plane that over a period of 36 hours of constant flying. Look at this. So this is the brand new one they just ordered. Similar, but actually quite different. It's new and enhanced. It's an amazing machine. It went 36 hours. We had 52 tankers up in the air loading up our planes because this was surrounded by F-22s and F-35s, and it was flawless, Tim. Even you would say it was flawless. And every one of those bombs hit their target. And then we had Tomahawks shot in from a submarine 300 miles away, and they hit every single Tomahawk hit its target. It was amazing. And that was a big threat. That was a nuclear threat. And here's the new one that we just ordered, a large number of them. I'll put it up.
Mr. President, what was the breakthrough today? Did Vladimir Putin make some kind of concession that he hasn't been willing to make before?
I don't call it a breakthrough. I mean, we've been working on this a long time. There are thousands of young people dying, mostly soldiers, but also, you know, missiles being hit into Kiev and other places. But in terms of soldiers, I think Russia's lost over 20,000 since the beginning of the year. 20,000. And I guess the estimate for Ukraine is about 9,000. It's a terrible situation. We want to get it stopped. You know, we don't have American soldiers there, but I feel I have an obligation to get it stopped. This was not my war. This war would have never started, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years. It went 4 years and it didn't start. But this is Biden's war. This was on his watch. And, you know, it's funny. We had no land was taken from Trump. It was taken from Bush. It was taken from Biden. The whole thing they would take from Biden if it weren't for us. But it was and it was taken by Obama. Take a look at what was taken with all of the land that was taken. Nothing was taken by Russia from us. Not 1 ounce of land was taken. I'm here to get the thing over with. It would have never started if I were president. And we're here to get it stopped and get the death stopped. Yeah, please.
President, in the past, you said you would know if Putin was acting you wrong. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less. But we've made a lot of progress. And as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India on oil. They're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. But so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But we've had very productive talks today. Yes, ma'am?
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like. It was just up on television, actually. They were showing it. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness, and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. You know, we just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him the night before last. And I'm going to call him now. We wanted to give him a little recovery time. We just put a call into him. They're calling back in a little while, but he went through a bad situation, to put it mildly, and there's too much of it. We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the
Hello, how you doing? 244, 2447. Hello, how you doing? Hope you're having a great evening.
What a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
And do you want Congress to look at overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best-run place in the country, not the worst-run place in the country. And it has so much potential, and we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
Mr. President, if you do reach a deal with Ukraine and Russia, would you drop the additional tariffs on India?
Well, we'll determine that later, but right now they're paying a 50% tariff. Okay?
Yeah, please. One for Mr. Cook as well. On
yeah, please. Sure.
The president wants a made in the USA iPhone. What are the chances that you can actually make that happen?
Well, if you look at the bulk of it, we're doing a lot of the semiconductors here. We're doing the glass here. We're doing the Face ID module here. And so there's a ton of it. And we're doing these for products sold elsewhere in the world. And so there's a lot of content in there from the United States.
But what about the whole?
Ask him about the price. How much would it cost?
We're very proud of it.
Can you make the whole thing
is just the final assembly that you're focused on, and that will be elsewhere for a while.
He makes many of the components here, and we've been talking about it, and the whole thing is set up at other places, and it's been there for a long time. So in terms of cost and all, but I think we may incentivize him enough that one day he'll be bringing that. But he brings most of the stuff. Look, he's not making this kind of an investment anywhere in the world, not even close. He's coming back. I mean, Apple's coming back to America. Thank you.
Mr. President, Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance, buying more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours. So let's see what happens over the next.
Sanctions.
You're going to see a lot more.
So this is a taste of
You're going to see a lot more. You're going to see so much secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. You were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with.
What's up, Randy? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me.
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going on?
Research on what?
Into mRNA vaccines.
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a past. With Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago, and we're on to other things. But we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases, and I think we're doing really well. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hey, what's up, King? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me.
You said many times that you want to stop wars in the Middle East. Now Prime Minister Netanyahu is contemplating reoccupying Gaza entirely. Is he defying you, sir, or are you giving him a green light?
Well, we have stopped wars in the Middle East by stopping Iran from...
Hello, Tuesday. How you doing? Appreciate you for joining the stream. Shout out to France.
Having a nuclear weapon, and they're they can say they're going to start all over again, but that's a very dangerous thing for them to do, because we'll be back. As soon as they start, we'll be back. And I think they understand that. They're just words. But no, we've stopped a lot of wars in the Middle East. If you think about what we did with Iran, Iran was the perpetrator of hate, a very evil place, and I think it's going to be a lot different in the coming years.
On the India penalties, do you have any similar plans to enact more tariffs on China as it relates to their purchases?
Could happen. Depends on how we do. Could happen. Brian?
I've got an entertainment-based question for you. A few weeks ago, Stephen Colbert announced that he was leaving a show. Howard Stern announced that him and Sirius XM Radio are parting ways. Do you think the hate Trump business model that's been in the entertainment business is going out of business because it's not popular with the American people?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning. Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that. Howard Stern, it's a name I haven't heard. I used to do a show. We used to have fun. But I haven't heard that name in a long time. What happened? He got terminated?
Yeah, they're going to separate ways because I think what they're offering salary-wise is real low than what he's getting.
You know when he went down?
Whenever you want.
You know when he went down? No, before. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he lost his audience.
Right.
People said, give me a break. He went down when he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Mr. President, have you talked to Governor Cuomo? Started interviewing Fed candidates yet?
Yeah, we've started the interviewing process. Scott and I and Howard, a lot of people, JD, we have some great candidates. It's probably down to 3. He doesn't want the job. He said, do you like this job better?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was a candidate, but I don't think he'll take it. I really don't think he'd take it, actually.
Are there any candidates from Wall Street, Mr. President?
Yeah, essentially we're all from Wall Street, aren't we? You know, when you get right down to it, the term Wall Street. Yeah, please.
Yep, you made your tax cuts permanent. You mentioned that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of external revenue. You've opened up markets, the EU, Japan, South Korea, many others, to American goods like we've never seen before. How much growth can we expect in the economy now that this model of yours is sort of beginning to really take off?
Well, I think the growth is going to be unprecedented. I think we're going to have growth that's unbelievable. Now, remember, we're building and just starting to build a lot of these incredible plants. We talked about the electric facilities that we're building, the generating plants, electric generating plants. Are massive, and they're going to be great, and they're going to sell excess electricity into our grid. So we're going to be having much more electricity than we ever had, and those plants are going to be taken care of individually. I know Tim is building one in one of his big factories, but especially for AI because it needs so much electricity. So I appreciate the question very much. I think the growth is going to be unprecedented.
Mr. President, did you have a phone call with Andrew Cuomo? Did you speak to Andrew Cuomo?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche?
No, I haven't. Have
you
not.
don't know whether
I don't
came
know.
up in the
I know Todd is a
conversation or not?
very respected person all over the country, all over the world legally, so I don't know.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Will the new Fed governor be temporary?
We're probably going to go with a temp and then a permanent, I think.
Are the two
So the temp is going to be named, I'd say, over the next 2-3 days, and then we're going to go permanent.
Are the two Kevins the leading contenders for the permanent spot for the chair?
Well, the two Kevins? The two Kevins are absolutely, yeah. They're both very good.
Mr. President.
The two Kevins, very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. Yeah, please.
A new Gallup poll says that Elon Musk is the most unpopular public figure in the country right now. I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment, but he's a good person. I believe that.
President Trump, are you keeping that 10 to 12-day deadline?
China facing potential secondary sanctions for Russian oil. Them having that tariff or sanction rather, or not, hinges on what going forward?
It may happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, but we did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China. Yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12-day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know about that. I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, guys.
All right, President Trump taking.
Well, there we go, guys. It was longer than what I thought. I thought it would have been, well, he came late. So there it is, guys. But we got to think about those soldiers. We got to think about those soldiers in Georgia. We got to think about their families. 5 soldiers lost their lives earlier. And we got to pray for them. So I think that's going to be it for me, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. If you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. We'll be back in the morning, 8:30 a.m. like usual. Hope you join me. Hope y'all have a great night. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I love and I appreciate y'all. And with that being said, I'm out.